Welcome back to the 2 Minute Warning, back on the topic of the NFL today. Today I'm discussing the Cleveland Browns, one of my favorite teams to talk about, and the three secrets, if you will, that they need to do or that need to happen for them to win this year's Super Bowl. I think that this Browns team, in my opinion, has the most complete roster in the league, and if you don't agree with that, I think everyone can agree that they're top three or top five at the most complete roster in the league. So today I'm going to be giving you guys the three things that need to happen for this Browns team to go all the way this year. But before we get into the video, quick kind of a yes or no question of the day, and that is, do you guys think the Browns have what it takes to go all the way this coming season? Yes or no? You'll hear my opinion throughout the video and at the end. And if you care to explain why or why not, comment below and tell me whether or not you think the Browns have what it takes to go all the way this year. But let's get right into it. My number one, at least my first on the list, and I think my number one in importance, is that Baker Mayfield needs to have a good, efficient season. That's pretty vague, I know. So what exactly do I mean by that? It's the turnovers, for me, that I think is the most important aspect of his game that needs to be capitalized on. The lack of turnovers needs to be capitalized on. Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, and probably a lot of you guys' opinions, everyone's opinion really, is not in the conversation for 40 touchdowns. He's not one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's not in the MVP conversation, but he's on a roster that efficient football can get this team all the way to the Super Bowl 100%. In my opinion, in his 3 seasons as the Browns starter, 27 touchdowns for rookie year, 22 his second, and 26 last year. So that's all 3 seasons under 30 touchdowns by what the closest he got was 27. Of course, there's a 17th game this season, so I think the magic number for Baker this year is about 31 touchdowns. I think in a previous video I said 32 or 33. Something right above 30, maybe 30 on the dot is where Baker's going to be. So he's not going to be in the MVP conversation. He's not going to be breaking records. He's not going to be blowing teams out of the water with his arm. But he's going to put a solid amount of touchdowns on the board, and I need him to keep the interceptions low. And the number I have for that is I need 10 interceptions maximum for Baker Mayfield. Anything over that, and the Browns are just not going to be able to win enough games to go all the way. Not to say that they can't make a good playoff run, win a first-round game like they did last year if he comes out and throws 14, 15 interceptions. But I need him to keep it under 10, which he did last year, and I think that's 100% doable again. Last year he had 8. The year before he had 21 interceptions. That's terrible. There's no other way to put it. In his rookie season, he had 14. So 14 interceptions, 21, then 8. So we're seeing a decline, obviously without the first 2 seasons, 14 to 21. But last year, he dropped from 21 interceptions the previous season to 8. So that is a very good number. If he's able to come out and throw 8 interceptions this year, and again, that's the key for me, is the turnovers. So the turnovers is the big part that I need him to keep low. But if he can come out and throw 8 interceptions or less than 10, so that's my number, 10 or less, and he can throw 30 or more touchdowns, he has done everything that he needs to do for this Browns team to be where they need to be in the playoffs. So again, my number one thing for the Browns, and my number one in importance, is that Baker needs to have a good, efficient season. And what I mean by that is he needs to keep the interceptions low and the smart throws at a maximum. He doesn't need to come out and throw 3 touchdowns a game, 1 or 2 a game. Rely on the backfield with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and keep the interceptions to a minimum. That's the key for Baker Mayfield. So that's number 1 for the Browns' 3 secrets to going all the way this year. Number 2, come in the backfield. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt need to be good this year, and what that means for me is that they combine for more than 2,000 yards, 2,000 yards or more, however you want to put it. And this one is very doable, in my opinion. This is the best backfield in the league. Again, this comes to the well-rounded part that I mentioned earlier about their roster. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, neither of them are top 3 running backs in the league. I think if you look at a list, power rankings, maybe Chubb is 5 or 6, and Kareem Hunt might be probably is outside the top 10. But combined, this might be the best backfield in the league, and in my opinion, it is. So for them to combine for 2,000 yards seems like it's very doable, but they haven't done it yet. Last year, they combined for 1,867, so just under 1,900. So they only need to run for roughly 150 more yards combined than they did last year. I think this is very doable, but this is going to have to complement with what I said originally with Baker, is that he doesn't need to come out and throw 3 touchdowns a game because the backfield is going to be doing the most of the work. So that's why I need the 2,000 yards to be hit for the backfield, because without that, then you're going to need more out of Baker. And when you need more out of Baker, he throws interceptions. Not a knock against Baker, but you could look at it as a statistical thing that the more times he throws the ball, the more odds he's going to get picked off. But in my opinion, Baker Mayfield When he's calm and he's cool, he plays well. But when he's in the spotlight and the game is in his hands and everything depends on what he does, he tends to make mistakes, or at least that's what he's shown so far. So if they can keep the ball, I certainly don't want to see the ball out of Baker's hands. That's not my point. If they can keep the blunt of the offense, the most of the offense in the hands of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, complemented by the good throw on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, whatever from Baker, then that's what's going to get this Browns offense rolling. So I need Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to combine for 2,000 yards or more, which is going to complement Baker's efficient play style perfectly. So those are my first two and the most important two. And then it's hard to rank these in importance. These 1, 2, and 3 are just my 3 points. They're not really in importance because these are all vital for the Browns to go all the way, in my opinion. But lastly on this list, I need Jadeveon Clowney to stay healthy. Now that seems like a pretty easy thing to do. Just don't get hurt. And how is that going to bring the Browns to the Super Bowl? That is because I think that Jadeveon Clowney, I think he's a very good football player. He played with Houston before he went to Seattle for a year, then Tennessee for a year. But he played 5 seasons in Houston before that, 3 of which were actually full years, and those are really only one time in his career has he played 16, as he started 16 games. So I guess he really only has 1 complete season. But 2 other years with Houston, he played or started 15 and 14 games. So I'm counting those as complete years. And in those 3 games, looking right here, he had in those 3 seasons, he had 9.5 sacks, one of them, 9 sacks in another, and 6 in the other. So just some quick math here, 18.5 plus. So 24.5 sacks in 3 seasons from Jadeveon Clowney when he's healthy. I love that number. And when you look at the rest of the defense for the Browns, yes, they lose Sheldon Richardson, but I think with Myles Garrett up front and Jadeveon Clowney, then you look at the backs, you get John Johnson from the Rams, you get Troy Hill, you have Denzel Ward. The secondary, I have no doubt in, which is why they're not on my list, because these 3 things that I have are very controversial. Are the Browns going to be able to do it? I don't think there's going to be any question about their secondary. Their secondary is going to be good. Their offensive line is going to be good. Their offensive weapons are going to be good. So this is what brings me to these 3 points about Baker and the backfield. Now, yes, the backfield is going to be good, but can they be 2,000 yards good? I'm not sure. Now, again, Clowney staying healthy, 7 years in the league, 3 years, arguably full season. Only once has he played 16 games. So obviously him staying healthy is a complete shot in the dark. He was a first overall pick in Houston. I liked him a lot when he played there, and he was great. He picked 6, fumble 6, getting in the backfield, sacks, all this. Like I said, 24.5 sacks in 3 seasons when he was healthy. The dude can play football when he's healthy. Yes, he's a little bit older, but he was the addition that this Browns defense needed to take them from just a complete roster solid team to, wow, this defense has every piece of the puzzle if he can stay healthy. So that is my last piece of the puzzle for the Browns. If Clowney can come in, stay healthy, have a 6, 8, 10 sack season, 10's a lot, but I think 6 or 8 is very possible for this guy, and that's just him. Myles Garrett, you're assuming, is going to have another 8 or 10 himself. This defense is going to be very scary. But if any of these 3 pieces fail, no matter what the Browns do, I don't think they're a Super Bowl caliber team. In all honesty, I think even if this doesn't work out, say Clowney's hurt and Baker still has a shoddy season, I think their defense is good enough to give them a playoff berth, and they're going to be in contention for something big. But I need all 3 of these to hit if the Browns want to win a Super Bowl. Those are my 3 takes. Again, to recap them, I need Baker to have a good, efficient season. And by that, I mean keep the interceptions at a minimum. I think the number for me is 10 or less. If he throws for 10 or less interceptions, coupled with a high 20s, 30 touchdown season, I think this team is set. My next one is Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt need to combine for over 2,000 yards in the backfield. And lastly, I need Jadeveon Clowney to stay healthy, because I think if he does, he's going to be talented. And back to the question today, do I think the Browns have what it takes to win the Super Bowl? I think of these 3 that are going to fail, it's going to be Clowney. I think he's going to get hurt. I think the Browns will be last year they were arguably a good play away from going to the AFC Championship against Buffalo. So I think this might be a team might take another divisional round exit or even an AFC Championship berth. But in all honesty, I think Clowney's going to get hurt. And I think that's one of my 3 secrets. If that doesn't hit, then I can't have them going all the way. So if I had to put money on it, Browns don't go all the way this year. But if these 3 things happen, then my money's on the Browns. In all honesty, guys, thanks for watching 2 Minute Warning.